Okay. Hello, hello. Hey, Christy, how are you?
Hey, I'm great. How are you, Linda?
Good, good. We are both happy to end our week again with you guys. And today, well, you know what? As last week I remembered, or because you remembered, I didn't introduce myself. So that would be a better habit. I'm always so interested in what we're going to talk about and what
Mhm.
Christy has to say that I want to dive right in. But let me stop for a second and just welcome you to this conversation, welcome you to this live. We are streaming live in multiple places. My name is Linda Downey, and I am a functional health practitioner, but a transformational health and whole life coach. I do a lot of spiritual work with people, and yeah, if you're in my world, you may be seeing this on Facebook. You might be seeing it on Instagram later on my business page. So please say hello, whether you watch now or later, and please ask any questions, and I'll make sure to go back and answer them for you. And then I'll let my good friend here introduce herself.
Thanks. So I'm Christy Siriano. I am a functional wellness coach, and I work primarily, not exclusively, but primarily with women who are wish to overcome autoimmune disease, thyroid dysfunction, and hormone imbalances. And really, I work with women who don't want to just take a pill and hope that it helps their symptoms. They want to understand why this is happening and fix it. So I work with them on all of the layers. And Linda and I we have similar backgrounds, and we do some of the same type of work. So we like to pick topics for these conversations where we have kind of some intersection between the work that we do. So I talk with clients a lot about the intersection between the physical body, the spiritual, the mental, the energetic. All of it fits together. All of it plays a role in our physical health and wellness and the energy and vitality and life experience that we have. So we thought today that we would talk a little bit about energy.
Yes. Yep. And I work with women primarily overcoming stress and anxiety, long term chronic stress, overcoming experiences from their past that have really blocked them. Maybe they see patterns in their life that have been going on for a long time. And there's a lot of connection to our energetic body in that realm as well. So, yeah, that's what we thought we would talk about today. And I think it's such an interesting topic. I think all of our topics are interesting, honestly, but I do think this is a very interesting topic. I know we love what we talk about, but I remember years ago when my health was really struggling, like in my 30s. So this has been a lifelong journey for me of health and wellness and a commitment to that in all areas: mental health, emotional health, physical health. And I've had my challenges in all of the areas. And I think there's the beauty in that because, in my own experience, I learned because I lived it what needs to happen. And in my 30s, I remember going to acupuncture and just because it was like, okay, what else can I do? I just felt crappy all the time. I was unhappy. And I remember she said to me, your chi is really low, your chi. And she was from China. Actually, an internal medicine doctor in China came to America, became an acupuncturist. And I was like, well, what's my chi? What's my chi? What is it and why is it low? And she's like, that's your life force energy. She's like, your chi is your life force energy. So it's not the energy. I was going to say not necessarily, but it's definitely not the energy that we get when we eat food and we convert food to energy so we can go for a run. It's not that energy. It's the energy of life. We are energetic beings. We're actually energetic beings more than we are physical beings. There's a lot more of you that's made up of energy than is made up of solid matter. A lot more. Most of us is as energy. And so I had no understanding of that at the time. And I was like, what do you mean my life force energy? And, that started me on that path a bit. And I'll be 60 on my next birthday. So it's been 30 years of really looking at and learning, and then, okay, what's next? And, how do I put that together? But life force energy is what we're talking about, right, Christy?
Yeah, absolutely. And there was a time in my life when I would have not known what you were talking about either. I would have thought that seemed like spiritual woo woo nonsense, honestly, more than like a physical and scientific and medical reality, which it is. So I had a lot to learn in that area as well. And I think it's so important for us to understand that every single thing on the planet is made up of energy. We are all vibrating at a different frequency, and the frequency at which that energy is vibrating is what determines whether you are a solid mass like a rock or whether you are a physical human that is made up of water and space and other things, tissues and cells. So it is a very real thing that can be measured and that has a very real impact on our physical, mental health for sure, and how we relate to other people around us as well.
Yeah. Yep, absolutely. In fact, when we were deciding about what to talk about today, we really came up with a few different pieces that all go under the umbrella of energy. So we're going to split that up. And instead of staying on for an hour and doing all of it, we're going to do a couple of sessions on energy. So definitely, if you're like this topic and you're interested, check back next Friday. We'll do them in a row so that makes sense. This is how I think of it. I think of, hi, Sergio. Sergio's saying hi from Mexico. Sergio's in Mexico. We're in the US. I love it. Anybody else, please say hi and where you're from, because I think that's so cool. Here's how I think of it. There's three actual circulatory systems in your body. Three. The first one is your blood. So your blood circulates. We can see that with our eyes. You understand that it moves through your veins and your arteries, and it brings oxygen to your cells. Like, it has a very specific role, your blood. It's got to deliver things. It's got to take away waste products and move that waste, away. And it has other components to it, different kinds of cells in there. And that's your blood. That's your first circulatory system. Your second circulatory system is your lymph. So your blood moves by the heart. Your heartbeat pushes the blood, right? The lymph does not have a heart moving it, but the lymph is also, you can see it through the body. It moves through channels just like arteries and veins, and the lymph has its job. And the lymph's job is to collect toxins and things that the tissues are getting rid of and pull all of that out to bring it towards the liver so that the liver can break it down and you can get rid of it. So the lymph, and the way that the lymph moves is by you moving. So you walking, you using your muscles squeezes the lymph. It doesn't, and gravity will move it down, and then your muscles will help keep it circulating. So that's the second system. And the third system is your energetic system, which you can't see with the naked eye, right? The other two we can see. You learned about them in school. The energetic system you can't see with the naked eye, but as Christy said, we have the technology now. They can very clearly see energy moving. They can see how fast it's moving, all of those things. And the role of the energy is, again, just like blood, it has to move in a particular direction. It has to, you don't want it to get stuck. You don't want it to go backwards, just like blood. It's got to keep moving. And it is your life force energy, your chi, I learned. Without that, you would die. Just like without blood, you would die. Just like if your lymph gets all clogged up and you're not clearing toxins, you would die. All three of them are equally important for life, for health, and as Christy said, it also affects other parts of you. So that's how I kind of think of it in my head, because it was something I couldn't see. But when I compared it, I'm like, okay, I get that.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you guys want to Google this and search online, you'll see some different diagrams and graphics showing the energy field around a body and how it is able to be measured. It's measured in hertz, right? And we can measure the energetic frequency of different parts of our body and different our body changes, the energetic frequency of it changes at different times, depending on a lot of different things, including our emotional state, depending on the foods that we are consuming. I'm sitting here drinking my green smoothie for lunch still, that I haven't quite finished. And one of the reasons, like, this has so many amazing benefits for our physical health, all of the phytonutrients, all of the fiber, all of the healthy fats. I put a half an avocado in here. But one of the other benefits is that the energetic frequency of raw fruits and vegetables is among the highest of the foods that you can consume. So by eating real living food, you are increasing your own vibrational frequency.
Yep. Now, Kimberly is saying hi, and she said, what about the thyroid? So I'll just answer that real quick, and Christy, you can add to it whatever you want. But the thyroid is a gland in the body, right? So it's a gland that has its own job. But all of the organs of the body, including the thyroid, are going to function dependent on how the energy is flowing, dependent on how the blood flow is flowing too, right? Depending on what's in your blood. That's why they take blood tests and blood work to see what's in your blood and what's happening and different levels of things. But the energy affects the thyroid just like it affects everything else. When your life force energy is very low, which is what was happening to me, and if you and I had thyroid autoimmune, so I'm guessing you're asking about the thyroid, and all of the people that Christy works with probably are on some level of, if not thyroid, then other autoimmune issues. When we are not allowing our energy to flow, and that happens a lot, I think a lot because of how we think and feel will affect how that flow goes, because emotions are energy, right? So they have their own frequencies, and then those frequencies are all in the body at the same time. So when the energy is not flowing, or let's just say we are giving a lot of our energy away to other people, that can happen. So you're always focused, you're caregiving, you're just giving your energy away and not replenishing it. Or you're consuming energy yourself, you're consuming it by thoughts and feelings that keep you really stuck. So you're using up a lot of energy because you're stuck in patterns. Either way, that's going to disrupt the way that the energy flows. I hope I said that in a way that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And it all fits together, right? That's why it's not just the physical, it's not just the energetic, it's not just the mental or emotional. All of them affect each other. And when your heart stops beating and you stop breathing, you cease to live, right? When your energetic frequency goes to zero, you cease to live. So the higher your energetic frequency, the higher the life force or the chi that Linda was talking about. And so one of the important things for us to think about is, well, how do I keep that energetic frequency high? How do I keep my energy field from being blocked and from those lower frequency emotions, the lower frequency foods, and the other things that are going to impact your energy field? So, it's not just that, yes, the energy field affects the thyroid, so do the nutrients that you're consuming, whether you're getting real clean whole food, whether you are getting the nutrients that your body needs to synthesize thyroid hormone, whether the communication between the brain and the thyroid is working optimally, whether the communication between the thyroid and the cells is working optimally. So all of those things play a role, and the energetic field can absolutely affect all of those different things. So I think it's fascinating because it's never like separate buckets, right? They're all interrelated. They all affect each other. And it's just one more layer to our health that we need to be conscious and aware of and think about addressing. And I think amazing thing about the way that we are designed as human beings is that when we are doing the things that serve and support our physical body as a rule, we're also doing the things that serve and support our energetic body and our mental and emotional bodies. So there are so many things that you can do to raise your energetic frequency, to raise that chi. And there's simple things that are going to serve your health in so many ways, like eating real clean living foods, like getting out in nature, grounding, putting your feet in the grass, enjoying the fresh air and the green trees, all of those things, breath work, meditation, thinking and being aware of your emotional state is a really big one. Shifting into higher frequency emotional states like gratitude and
Yeah.
generosity are some of the highest. Love, instead of living in a place of frustration and anger and resentment, which how many of us spend a significant portion of our life in those places. And
Yeah.
that absolutely correlates to a lower energetic frequency.
Yeah, for sure. Those are all great things. What I learned, I saw it in my own life. And then as I was working with people, because I was doing the strategies of food and detoxing the liver and all of that. And what I learned is really what happens, where you're at in your energetic field determines how your physical body is going. Anything that's showing up in the physical world first got created energetically. It can't be a physical reality unless it's an energetic reality first. And so, I learned the hard way by just working super hard on my physical, but not understanding my energetic. And when I'm talking about that, I'm really talking about the thoughts and feelings, because the thoughts and feelings shift your energetic body like instantaneously. And then you have to keep practicing certain thoughts and feelings, but you can shift your energy pretty quickly. But when you do that and you create an energetic body that is vibrant and a higher frequency and promotes health, then all the things you're doing in the physical realm are going to stick.
Yeah.
So the dietary changes and, the supplements and being out in nature, those are all going to work because you've done the energetic work first. Otherwise, if you flip-flop it, it's a lot harder. You feel like you're spinning your wheels, or at least I did. Felt like I was spinning my wheels a lot in my physical body because I didn't understand the connection. I keep pointing back here because to me, it's like this background thing or something. Like it's in here, but I keep doing that. But that's how it is for me. But anything that is in the physical realm first got started as a thought, got started as an energy, and then it takes shape into physical form. That's the only way it can work. So, when I'm working with my women and we're looking at patterns in their life, patterns in how they think, patterns in their choices, their behaviors, and patterns in their energy. And that's why it affects all parts of your life. It's not just your physical health, although that's really what Christy and I mostly like to talk about, but it's also in your relationships. Who are you energetically? And as I said, we're going to split this up because we could talk for a long time on this, but we'll split it up into sessions. But this is to really give you an understanding and a foundation and start to chew on who are you energetically? Where is your energy?
Yeah, absolutely. Right? Yeah, I'm so glad that you said that and explained it in that way, because I mean, as you know, as someone who's dealt with autoimmune disease, the women that I work with so often come to me and they have seen functional practitioners or holistic practitioners. They've had the testing, they've taken the supplements, and it hasn't solved the problem. Maybe they got better for a little while, but it doesn't solve the problem because they haven't addressed all of the layers. So absolutely, you have to address the physical, no question. But as Linda said, if you don't also address the energetic, which is the thoughts and the emotions primarily, then healing, long-term recovery and healing is very, very difficult. And and unlikely in my experience as well. So I think it is so important to address all of those at once and to find practitioners who can support you in all of those areas, who understand that you have to address all of these things.
Yeah. And I'm going to give you one example before we, wrap it up so that you can think about this between now and next week. But when we say, like, who are you energetically, there's research shows that there's a strong link with women and autoimmune. Women by far have autoimmune much more than men. And autoimmune is just what I'm picking, that one category because it is so prevalent, but it might be other things. You might not have a diagnosed autoimmune issue, but you might have chronic gut problems, right? You're bloated all the time. You can't eat a lot of foods. You might have, headaches or really low energy, like fatigue, even though you eat well, things like that. So whatever it is. But when I say, who are you energetically? If you are, just picture whatever your definition is of a martyr, right? Like, oh, I have to do everything for everybody. Oh, it's all on my shoulders. Oh, no, I'll take care of it. Like that kind of energy. Or a caregiver energy of, always not complaining like the martyr necessarily, but just, I've got it. I'm going to take care of it. No, I've got that. I've got that. Like that kind of, those kinds of patterns in your choices and how you relate with people, that energetically would be very draining and depleting, right? It would just be always sending your energy out. And if you look at the martyr one, then there's the additional like resentment thoughts and kind of like it's all on me. There's a little bit of victim thought in there. So that's the kind of energy drain that if you're stuck in patterns like that, and those were just two that popped into my head. There's certainly a lot more, but think about that between now and next week. Who am I energetically? What are the thoughts and feelings, patterns that I tend to stay in? How does that support my body, my physical health? Does it support my physical health? And again, I remember when I was told by that doctor, and it got me so interested in Chinese medicine. And you guys, Chinese medicine has been around for thousands of years, very successfully, much more holistic than Western medicine, right? I remember something I read once. It said Chinese medicine looks at the human body as like a garden. If you had a garden and you looked at it and flowers were dying over here, they would never spray it with pesticides or spray it with something or rip it out, right? It would be there's something, the way this plant is showing up is telling us that something isn't right for what it needs. It's the soil, it's the water, it's the sunlight, it's the nutrients. And I was like, oh, because I love to garden. I'm definitely into gardening. So I was like, I get that analogy. I totally can see that. That's very different than let me spray it or let me cut it back or rip it out, which is what we tend to do here. So when I first, got interested in Qi and heard that from her, I started to really read and learn a lot more. Not that I am an expert in Chinese medicine by any means, but there's so much to be learned, and to have that holistic approach of where you are in your mind. I went like this, mind, where you are in your mind, where you are in your spirit, in your heart, your spiritual heart, what you're doing with your physical body, and how your emotions are. All of that is what we're talking about. But the energetics of that is what's, I think, so important in the backdrop.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, so we'll let you guys. I mean, Christy, I didn't mean to cut you off. Was there something else you wanted to say?
I think that's a great wrap up.
Okay, so think about that. If you're interested in this topic, if you're like, you really like, what's going on with my life force energy? How is my energy supporting my body? What's the relationship? We'll talk more about it next week and maybe even the next 2 weeks, because I feel like we have enough conversation that we could definitely do 2 more sessions.
Yep.
Okay. Definitely drop any questions. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for saying hello. Everybody who said hello, Elizabeth from South Africa, Kimberly, Sergio, and anybody else anywhere where we'll see the other posts, and we'll do our best to answer. Okay. So have a great weekend.
All right. See you soon. Have a great weekend, everyone. Thanks, Linda.
Bye-bye. Yep. Thanks, Christy.